But look, let's move on because as Washington fans, we are always the ones that try to look at next year. When is what's going to happen next year? Yes, this is upsetting. This is disappointing for us, but what a remarkable season we have had. Let me first off say this for all of you that know and have followed hardcore. Will can be my number one backer on this. I took as long as humanly possible to get on the Jaden Daniels bus, the bandwagon. I took as long as possible, and you guys have to understand. If you know me, if you lived through that 2012 season, I am scarred from that 2012 season. This type of quarterback is exactly what I want. Dual threat quarterback, somebody that's calm and cool, collective in the pocket, somebody that has the ability to be a game changer, and that everybody else looks at us and is like, that's the guy that I want. This is what I want. I thought I had an RG3. We didn't. He got hurt. We seen what happened. Jaden has done everything in his power to be that guy. But for me, it was kind of like, nope, nope. I'm not gonna dive in. I'm not gonna do it. And Will, I'm gonna come to you because that to me, it kills me now because in hindsight, I was not able to truly appreciate this season and how really remarkable it was because I'm sitting here fighting my demons in my head like I don't want to be. No, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because I know once I dive deep in, ain't no coming out. Then I'm locked, loaded, and ready to go. So, Will, I mean, what a season, Will.
Sean, this was the best season since 1991.
Yeah,
maybe I'll say 99. Because that gave those types of feelings of we have arrived. But 99 we were a good team, and this was the same thing. We had more wins. We didn't just barely make it to the playoffs. So it was a remarkable season. I had so much fun watching this team. You grew into loving a guy like Jaden Daniels. You grew into loving Dan Quinn and to his assistants and the culture they built. Seeing Scary Terry get to be a number one and have everybody see how good what we have seen. So, all that stuff was so great. But I'm also going to say this. I hate this W. I hate the name Commanders. But I bought my son a jersey, and he was wearing it today, and he turned around and says Daniels 5 on there. I'm like, that looks pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
I'm damn proud for him to wear that to school. I send it to him on Friday. He wears it. He wears his Redskins cap as his winter cap, that type of stuff. And it's like, it's no longer like the name sucks.
Yeah.
But it's no longer a joke when you see someone wearing Commander stuff or Redskin stuff and they think of Commanders. Like, because people can say, yeah, your name sucks, but damn, you guys have a good quarterback. Mm-hmm. And as Mason was saying, you guys have a bright future. So it is good to be a Washington fan again. And we haven't felt that way in 33 years.
Exactly. And that's something that is a positive. That is something that's just like, yes, we lost, but that's a springboard into, okay, what's the offseason bring? What's the draft look like? What is Adam Peters, Josh Harris, Quinn? What are those guys going to do in-house? Because what they've done this year, and I don't know, the awards for Coach of the Year haven't come out yet, right?
No.
Let me go ahead and put in this ballot right now. Not Ron Rivera. Ron Rivera. Dan Quinn. See, he's in my mind because he thought he was going to get a ring because if we would have taken it. No, sir. Dan Quinn definitely needs to be in that consideration for Coach of the Year. If not top 3, he needs to be the guy. What he was able to do with this team, a 4-win team that had no semblance of hope, and how he able to bring those guys in and then continually have us believing. We were in a lot of games that were struggling, that a lot of games that did not look great. I think there was a stat that said prior to the Lions game, the last 4 games we had gone into half trailing. And in that second half, you always talk about the adjustments that we make. I mean, we were able to come around and play. There was points in this game where you see Joe Witt Jr. was really he seemed like he had, kind of their number. He was pressuring Hurts. He was had a couple times where he was shutting down Barkley. And you're like, man, this coaching staff, this group together. I mean, Jaden is obviously the one that we all lift up on the pedestal, how great he is. But when you look at that coaching staff and what they've brought together, I see Misa Doran here saying, what are you going to do at OC? We don't know if, Cliff's going or staying. We know he's interviewed, but I think that's one of the things that this coaching staff in here, that is what's really brought us together, because we can name all the holes we have on our team, but with that coaching staff and how they've been able to, I don't want to say disguise, but just work around some of the issues that we have. It's truly, that's what's remarkable about the season, how we've been able to come together.
Yeah, absolutely. We won 4 games last year. We won 12 this year. Nobody saw this coming. Then we went in to win 2 playoff games. It was icing on the cake for you, Sean,
yes.
Since you like to say
right.
that. But you also look at, we were so frustrated in the offseason because we were happy that we went out and got Biotish. We were happy we went out and got Luvu. We were ecstatic and shocked and thrilled that we got an Austin Eckler and a Bobby Wagner. But we were sitting here going, we got all this money. What are we doing? Why are we sitting on this cash like this? Well, now we're in year 2.
Yeah.
Now Adam Peters can say, I've given my coaches a chance to work with what they got. Now they can come to me and say, this is what worked on this roster, and this is who didn't. And now Adam Peters and Dan Quinn can go to work. And that's what is going to be a whole lot of fun between free agency and the draft. And we're hitting it, Sean. Senior Bowl, I think, is this week. They're getting into it now. And this Senior Bowl is where Terry McLaurin was discovered by the Redskins, because they saw him and he stood out, and they're like, that's the guy we're going to draft. So, your next starters, your next studs are going to be there. And I also think if you look around, the Saints are still open, and Kellen Moore is supposed to be interviewing for them. Cliff Kingsbury could be open interviewing for him. But let's think about this. If you're Cliff Kingsbury, you only get a second chance, is it, in the NFL. You don't really get third and fourth chances. You're not Mike McCarthy, maybe, but he didn't fail in Dallas. And so he could be, but you have to be very careful with that second choice. If you're a coach who has been fired, why would Cliff Kingsbury leave a Jaden Daniels to go to New Orleans? I thought the Bears might be the biggest threat to taking him.
I did too.
With that, but it's so if he wasn't even in the running there, why would he go to New Orleans? So I feel like, to your point of, we've got this coaching staff in place that really made chicken salad out of the chicken that they were given. And now we only get to just improve this roster, where we in future shows we're going to go through and evaluate what we got, but we can tick off the stuff that needs to improve on this team, and there's quite a lot. And now Adam Peters gets to go to work in year 2, and now we get to get really excited for September.
Exactly. And kudos to us for beating Detroit, because that could have been the difference between Ben Johnson staying in Detroit and Cliff potentially going, and Ben, eventually going, because they lost. And you see how all the coaches that Detroit has now lost to the Lions and other teams, that could have very well been us. But then you start asking that question about Detroit, like, was their window looking like? Now their coaches are going, now they're getting poached, X, Y, and Z. To your point, I just think when you have a situation like this, it's almost like the Eric Bieniemy situation, where it's kind of like, you're good in-house. Stay there. You got carte blanche as far as how you can act and what you're doing. You have control over a situation. They trust you in that. And to your point, second chances, you only get one of those or whatever. But I just think that this could be a bit, extremely beneficial for Cliff to get another year in there, because there were some games. Yes, he did make chicken salad out of chicken for sure, but there was also some games where Cliff struggled a little bit, and injuries contributed to that, and the line play and things like that. But Cliff, I think it would, like I also said with Eric, but he didn't get that chance, and I'm kind of glad he didn't. Cliff, I think, would do better by another year or two in this system with a guy like Jaden. What kind of quarterback you have, so you're able to play around and do a lot of different things, as opposed to now I'm going over here and implementing my system again, and let's see if they can connect and X, Y, and Z. Zagna said, for show, DQ right did right by Washington and got the absolute best out of his team. Oh yeah, absolutely. Now I will say this, and I've always said this to you. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. There was another point where I kind of had an eerie feeling about this game. Dan Quinn, our head coach, the announcer for our game, Tom Brady, and it just didn't. It just didn't. I thought I was like, can anybody else call our game? It just, I mean, I was looking for things. Don't get it twisted. You know how I am. I'm trying. I don't want to let go fully, but that minute to me was kind of like, that stinks. Now, let me get off that for a second. Will, the single fact that we have the cap, we have the coaches, we have the fan base is clearly back.
Mm-hmm.
What can this be going forward?
I mean, it's the return to greatness for Washington football. Is what can this be? You know, what offensive player doesn't want to come play with Jaden Daniels? Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, you got Luther Burden, who's like downright telling everybody he wants to be in DC. You know, it's not going to happen. There's no chance he's going to be there at 29, but he knows where he wants to be.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Oh yeah.
I mean, right now it's going to be what player doesn't want to come here and play well, not play with these coaches who are going to put you in the right position, play with an offensive stud like Jaden Daniels. So, I mean, that's what's going to be really fun. But I'm also going to say this. I'm open to everything and anything that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn think is possible. Like, I'm going to throw this out there. If they decide that Marshawn Lattimore is not a good fit for them after the half season we've had, trade him.
Bye-bye.
You can, if you get him for a 5th round pick and, you know, you kind of eat that 3rd rounder, but you decided we tried him. He didn't cover A.J. Brown well. He didn't cover Mike Evans well. He's a hothead out there. If you all say this isn't meshing, get rid of him. If you say we can work with this, then keep him. You know, I'm looking at our offensive line that overachieved, but if you decide that you need to replace 2 of the guys that are on the offensive line this offseason, okay. If you decide you need to pay money on a position that I'm not sure you need to pay money on, okay. Like, I am open to whatever they decide to do. Go ahead and draft the Johnny Newtons in the 2nd round when other guys are there. Like, I am completely behind these guys, you know, and what they're looking for. And that's what I think is going to be so exciting because, you know, outside of like really making some decisions, like you signed Albert Hainsworth for a ton of money, you know, and Adam Archuleta and that type of stuff. Outside of stuff like that, I'm going to believe everything they did because they've already shown in year 1 that they knew how to flip this team around.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the most exciting things, a lot of times at the end of the year, we're thinking, okay, man, are these guys going to stay with us? Are these guys going to want to go? Are these, you know, how long are these guys going to want to stay here? Jonathan Allen, damn right, came out last year at the end of the year and said, I'm tired of this. Been here, 7 some odd years and haven't had any type of success. And he came in today and had a sack and had a couple tackles and stuff like that. You made a mention early, around the Saints game where it said he's coming back because we're in the playoff hunt. He's coming back to contribute, and he did what he could. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing is we know about the people potentially, you know, that we could bring in, and the people are like, yeah, man, I want to come over there and play in Washington. But one of the things that we've been talking about all year is who are we bringing back? Who are we going to, you know, say, all right, we're going to sign this guy. We're going to make sure this guy comes. We got a couple of these guys on these shorter contracts or the 1-year deals. I think there's some of these guys like Bobby Wagner. It's kind of like, I can see it. You know, this might be my last run. I can see it here. Look what we did with this talent. I can see it. And you got a couple of those guys in-house that are saying that. They are also talking to their buddies like, hey, come on over here. Come on over. And let me make this play right now, since I know you're on the couch watching. Micah, I know you might not be too thrilled with your coach, Mr. Schottenheimer, not Marty. Come on over. We got money to pay you. You can do your podcast anytime you want to, my friend. Come on over, Micah.
You love Dan Quinn. Come join
us. Come on. Oh, light. Go Birds, baby. Shout out to you
today. Absolutely, man.
Congratulations.
Good luck in 2 weeks. Hope y'all lose, but good luck.
Yo, we might be a little mixed on that. But no, so yeah, going forward, we're going to be talking about all of this. We're going to talk about the draft, free agency, the coach moves, the money moves, whatever is coming out there. And honestly, it's it's a weird feeling right now, Will, because as you know, it took me so long to finally sell out and be 100% on board, and it sucks. And this pain definitely hurts, but at the same time, if you're a Washington fan, especially over the last 15, 20 years, this is your time of the season. You got all this stuff coming up. You could just play musical chairs, do whatever you want to do. And Will, you talked about it coming into this season. We liked what they were doing. We were still like, well, what exactly are you doing? And we've seen the fruits of their labor. Now with a full another off season, now we're solidified. We know we got a quarterback. We know who we can bring in. I don't want to sit here and go Super Bowl or bust, but I'm kind of saying, yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, okay, all right. I'm not alone. Okay, cool.
That is the path we are now on, Sean. Like, if you thought this year sucked you back in and this was an emotional roller coaster, get ready, because it is now Super Bowl or bust time for the next 3 years with this roster. And as you mentioned, this is you and I geek out over the off season, and this is a great time to be following us on Twitter X at Wash FB Weekly, because you and I throughout the next 3 months are going to be paying attention to stuff like the Senior Bowl. We're going to be paying attention to stuff like the Combine. We're going to be hitting up our friends who know the college game really well to be telling us, hey, who's a running back that could do better than B-Rob because he didn't get it done. We're going to be saying stuff like, who was a wide receiver that could come in, not in the first round, outside of that, and be an impact player? Or we need another corner. Who's going to be that guy? Who is a run stuffer defensive lineman because our run defense sucks? So this is the time. If you want to find out who are the next folks you're going to be paying attention to in free agency and draft, and who could be a fit for the holes that we have, Wash FB Weekly on Twitter X, because we will be sharing that for the next 3 months. This is the stuff that you and I geek out
at. Absolutely. Oh my goodness, absolutely. We have so much fun doing it, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, like we said, just because the regular season is over does not mean that football is over. We're going to be covering that, and we're going to be giving you great content like my guy Will alluded to. We will be doing also Freaky Friday, where we look at players that either started with Washington, had moderate success, and then had great success elsewhere, or players that looked great prior to coming to Washington and then got on our team and then did not live up to expectations. And then we will also have Throwback Thursday. And last week I did Todd Bowles. All you Tampa Bay fans definitely talked about his time in Washington and his coaching career since then. And I think my other Freaky Friday was Trent Green. Oh, golly day. And one of the things I was talking about in there was like what could have been. Hindsight's 2020, but 3,400 yards and 98? Could have been something in Washington, man.
Well, and I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but do you know Trent Green wanted to re-sign in DC? But it was the ownership, the change of the ownership, where the league told him, you can't sign in Washington because we can't validate their money right now. So he had to go to Kansas City. He would have been here. Like and I love the trade for Brad Johnson, so I'm not disputing that. But we had our franchise quarterback in place. They found it. North Turner had it.
Oh yeah. Oh, he did. He definitely did. He definitely did. So hey, this is the best time of the year to go take a look at this. Everything is right at the doorstep. We'll still be looking at whoever goes. Congratulations to the Eagles, and let's look at the Bills. Do you actually know the score of that game right now?
Not yet. No, I don't.
Let me see if I can check that.
29-29 with 6 minutes left.
Ooh, we have an instant classic on our hands. Yes. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now that I've gotten this off, I can wipe off the frustration and the ick of this loss. Let me go look at this great game and bring my mood up a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. Bring my mood up a little bit. Look.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go. The Washington Commanders